Alright, good afternoon all. We want to continue with our Java AC class. Tsaya ka bari mutanen nan su wuce kuma ka zo nan. Okay, so last time we were able to run this we were able to generate this program, and whenever something is written here, even though this we intend to modify many things here. If you click on register, if you check from the backend here, it registers. So there are some things we need to do here. Firstly, we want to modify. This is too long. We want to make it just 2 zeros and a digit. And also this PSN is not going to take name of the local government. We want to make it so that it picks 3 letters here and it concatenate with this ID. So you have like for GUI, for example, you're going to have GWA and all that. And it's like right from the code here, like I've dedicated something for the PSN. So we're going to create something. For the first time, let me create this. Let me change it from the model. The model here, this is the model. So you see, very good thing with this model. If you want to make some changes, you only call the model and make your changes. So for this, if you double click the table here, it brings you to the how the model is arranged here. And for the ID here, we want to make changes so that of course it is going to be int, but then you need to specify a number of characters in a bracket here. Let me make it 3 because already I have made it 0 field. This is what makes zeros to be padded. It is actually 1. If you check here, actually it is 1, but then it's 0. Some zeros are padded here, and I think the zeros here are like more than 6, like 9 zeros, right? So this is the default. So if you make it this way, it changes to what you have suggested. So this is what we wanted. I'm going to drop this DB. You know, it's still under design. I'll drop it and I'll forward engineer the changes. Drop database. Okay. So I think it's okay. Then from the model here, you see very good something here, changes. Okay, here it's supposed to be auto incremental. I think I tempered it. So what you do is to save the model. You save the model and then you click on database, click on forward engineer, click on next. So changes have been made. Then now if you check, you try to connect, also try to use your I don't think that changes are not being made. let me drop it again. Drop database. Good, now it's okay now, I think. So let me push it. This is the diagram. You come to database, forward engineer. Okay, right? So if you check now, make it active. Can you see? So if you describe, description gives you kind of structure of the table or of the database or any object. So this is it. You see three digits, right? So now from the IDE here, I can just push this, and after pushing, I check from here. Can you see only 2 digits, right? So this is done, right? This is done. Now to the PSN number. From the source code, the PSN number is like I've made it to this is what I did for the PSN number. I've already assigned one local government for the PSN number. If you check here, I think from the IDE I selected Zaria, but then what is being populated is Giwa, because that is what I've done here. So let's make some changes on the PSN number. What we're going to do is to collect whatever that is being populated as GLA, that is the local government area, and pick only the first 3 digits, or first 3 positions rather. So I will call this LGA, then I'll introduce what we call substring. Can you see? Substring. Okay. Substring. Good. Substring. Then I will introduce the parameters separated by comma, what I wanted to pick. What we want to do is, if you have something like let's say if you have Zaria and you have the person's ID as 001, so we want it to pick, we want the PSN number of this candidate to be ZAR space 001. So the system should automatically gives this number automatically. So this should be the PSN number. Okay, so this is what we wanted. So here you pick from 0 to 2 position, because position 2 is 3, right? 0 to 2, and if you do that, it will give you then I'm going to store it here as PSN, but yet this is not going to solve our problem. But let's run it. Staff ID 001, for example. In fact, this staff ID, sorry, let me remove the what do you call? This is the validation regarding staff ID, right? Let me remove that validation, so I don't write anything there, because it makes no sense for one to write ID himself. him or herself. So I've removed this, so I'll stop writing anything on the staff ID, and it will not prompt me with any error. But then here maybe we'll write Yusuf, for example, and we'll pick let me pick Java, for example. Then I will click on register. It tells me register. So even this kind of information we get, this is from console. Let's make it J option pane, okay, not console. But then before then, let me check on here to make sure that Java, sorry, like our calculation is not correct. That means we have to pick 3, not 2. So I don't know what. And then I'm making this correction at the same time. I'm going to convert this information that says data captured correctly. Instead of printing it on console, I'm going to print it on J option pane, and I'll introduce this J option pane. The show message, dialog, right? Then I will introduce I think 3 things, and the last one, J option. J option pane that show that information, right? The information message. So here I can introduce null. So I have to introduce another one, right? This is why I write the information, right? Or the caption, right? I think the caption for the label for the J option, which is it's a dialog box. Let's say data capture successful data capture, or you can just say data capture. So this is the message you're going to write here. Okay, so let's run it. I think it's okay now. So you see, it tells you what. I don't know why I'm. Even last time, that's what I did, right? It's supposed to be, the first thing is supposed to be the message, then but actually this is how I'm thinking it should be like this. This should be the what? The name for the caption for the dialog box, then the message. But what James Gosling did is it isn't like that. James Gosling did not did that, right? Or Oracle now. The introduce message first, then the title for the message, right? Okay, so let's run it again. Toolbar, and I click on toolbar. So it tells you that data captured. Thank you. So this is data capture message, right? You see, this is more professional than, because you see, but after deployment, user is not going to see this message being displayed on console. So you have to make it this way. Even the console is faster, as you can see. When you click the console whatever it's displaying, the message is displaying. So let's see what we have on our database. You are also supposed to check these the various method of this kind of J option pen. You can introduce option pen that collects information, confirmation, something, and all this. So if you check your, can you see we are able to get ZAR, we are able to get what? SOAP, which that is what we wanted, right? 3 letters, just 3 letters. Then now the next thing is for us to concatenate the ID plus the SOAP. I think we can write a query from here to check whether we are right for the concatenation. If I write, say, select, let me just say select name. I just want to, okay, select everything in it. Select everything from this table. Okay, then in here maybe I introduce a comma, and I'm going to introduce another command here that says concat, right? Is that not the command we use? We're going to concat ID and what? An LGA, sorry, PSN, thank you, PSN. So let's run this select statement. Arrow function cat hr db concat doesn't I introduce e, says it doesn't exist. Right, thank you. But you see, we are not done yet. We needed a space, right? So how do we do that? What does concat do? It just only 2. It just strings, right? You continue to separate the string by what? By comma. So that means we can introduce another string here. Okay? Then I space it. Is it not? So let's run and see. Is it? Yes. So what if, look at something here. That's very good. Can you see something here? Is this a column name? This is not a column. This is just chunks of, you the one who knows that. Because this might be supplied to a given user and there could be problems. Then you introduce what we call an alias. Alias, I don't know whether you know alias. You just introduce the name immediately after the column you have after the operations. Let's say PSN, right? So, can you see it? PSN. But see, all this you're doing, you haven't done any, you did not store anything. Because if I should run it again using this command, which doesn't have to do with any concat, if I run again, you're not going to see that. It is not stored. So how are we going to make it persistently stored? I don't know whether you are understanding what I'm doing. This is not stored. You see, it's back to its position because there I'm just selecting. I can select for me to get a result and make use of it elsewhere. But this is not persistently stored on the, but what we want is to have a persistent storage. So if we want to have persistent storage, you have to do what we call an update. You need to update. You need to update. Because one thing is this, look at the source code here. It is when you make insertion that this number is going to generate. So it is after the insertion that you can update later. So if you can, if one may say, okay, now can I add all this? Can I add the ID PSN number at the same time, add it and add in? It's going to be a problem because the ID itself is not created when you are inserting it. I don't know whether I'm making sense here. Sometimes you see for you to think over what we are doing, you have to concentrate. So for us to do that, let me firstly use this. This is what we do. If you want to write a query in your embedded query, first of all, you use your database server on a test data or test database rather, and then use the test data not on the production, before the production environment. May carry out everything. If it is okay, then you pull your query to the something over the embedded query. So I want to create an update that updates this for us, which is very simple. All I need to do is to remove this select statement and introduce update. But you know, for you to update, you write this query. Update what? Table name. Of course, table name is what? This. So I'm updating table name, then you introduce set. Alright? What am I setting? I'm trying to set a column. What am I updating? There is a column here I want to update, right? So what is the name of the column? PSN. As it is, PSN. Okay? So I'm setting PSN to what? PSN equals to, then you write your query. You write what you want to do. This is what we wanted, right? Is it? Is it not? So you introduce this, comma, right? That's what I wanted, and then I terminate. So then let's update. This is what we have, right? So when we update, formally this is the original data. Then we run this select statement to get this result. This is just giving us result, but it is not storing persistently. But if you want this to store, you introduce this and then you run this. Then you check from the persistent storage. Like there is problem. I saw one thing here. Let me clear. It tells me error update mode. Okay, this error is from what I'm using, from the Workbench. So Workbench, when you install it by default, it doesn't allow update, it doesn't allow deletion, it doesn't allow anything that is going to kind of create modifications on the existing instances or on the schema. So you have to do something here. You go to this preference and then you click on, I think, query editor. No, administrator, no, appearance, default. I think it's this. Yeah, this is it. Look at it here. Save updates, reject updates. You see, by default it rejects updates, and it rejects what? Deletion. This is how the designers of this MySQL Workbench, that's how they designed it. By default, you have to uncheck it for it to do the work you wanted. So when I unchecked, so let me clear this so we understand what is happening. Then I run. Okay, use this key. Okay. You are using save update mode and you try to update without the key. You know what? It's trying to not let you. It doesn't try. It's trying to protect you, right? It's telling me that I'm supposed to use a key. So let me use a key. That means I'm supposed to specifically introduce kind of row. Okay? Not let me just say where ID equals. Okay? But you know, in there we are not going to introduce where ID equals what? Which one runs correctly? I think this one runs the last two, right? Sorry, the last two, 3 and 4, right? So let me introduce just where ID equals 3. This is what it's trying to tell you, where ID equals 3, and then you terminate. So I think with this now it will run. This is something specific to Workbench. If you use client server, it will not. it won't give you all this. So it tells you it has updated. So let's check from the existing something here. Alright, can you see what we have? Can you see we said it should update only 3, right? Which is what? Number 3 here. And we have 003 ZAR. But it's supposed not to be something like this. It's supposed to be Zaria 003, right? Is it? How about, okay, I'm the one who did that. The PSN number should come before ID, right? PSN. So let's update it again. And then let's check. You see what is happening? It is it added up on top, right? Yes, of course. Maybe what I will do is, first of all, I will make it nothing. Or let me just update it to, let me just introduce something here. What is this? Huh? Right? Is it okay? Then, you know, system works, it works correctly. It is not a human, it's a machine. So any command given, because all those things have been mentioned there, that's why it has to give you. Hey, what's happening? PSN Jaria 003. PSN, then I don't know, it is like this Workbench is not doing the correct thing. Okay. Let me try that of 4. This is it, right? So I want to pick PSN. Actually, how we do it, I'm supposed not to call PSN. It's a mistake. I'm supposed to call LGA. Because you see, it's like I'm saying PSN equals to PSN plus something. So you see, it will keep accumulating, right? So I'm supposed to call LGA since it is sent. In fact, PSN will not even work. LGA, this is where we work. If you run this, it will work. Because there it is incrementing, right? This one will work. Certainly it will work. PSN equals to PSN, you understand? But then now I'm just pulling two different columns. I'm pulling LGA, I'm pulling ID, making one column. Okay? So this is it. So this is what we're going to do. For the number 4, if you replace this with 4, for other servers will work, other clients will work, but this Workbench will not allow you to introduce. It's a way of protecting developers from having issues with the operations in database. So you see this. Now I'm going to delete everything. I'll truncate the table and I'll pick this. Please always do this. Always try to try your update somewhere before you implement it in the embedded SQL, because the embedded SQL is from a database, from this kind of codes from either Java or any other machine. So you see, it is after the insertion that you're going to update. When you insert, then you update. So how do you know that it is inserted? You see, this is what tells us that it is inserted. So you can introduce something here. You can now say int count, for example. Then you introduce this. You know, when you update, it tells you that so number of columns updated, right? So whatever column, it will store it here. So you check on count whether it is empty or it has something. If it is not empty, that means something has been done. Otherwise, then you have to So but then it has to be within this. You can introduce the count somewhere here, so you don't have issues with you can also introduce your on update method somewhere within this method. So I may just introduce it here as within here, then I will just call count here. Alright, so I want to check whether there is something, so I will capitalize on this. This is the end of the catch. And this is end of else block. Else block, because I want to introduce another query. End of else block. So you see, it's within the else block that we are going to introduce the query that updates. Okay, so you introduce a query that get it updates. You now see update query. I want to finish this before the time requires. Update query. Okay, so I will introduce try catch, and within the try I introduce if statement that checks on the count. If count if you look at it, it's been initialized as an int, so I can use greater than sign. If I say if count is greater than 0, if it is greater than 0, that means something has been entered. This is it. So if it is greater than 0, the variable has been initialized already, but then okay, here it is not initialized. For the first time it is 0, right? When it entered here, at this point, you check if it is, if insertion is successful, then count is greater than 0, right? Is it? Yes. Otherwise it is 0. So only if it is greater than 0 that it does what? It does the update. Yes. So this is for the catch. I may see arrow in update query, for example. So here I write the command. You're going to write everything as it is like this. You pick up your something and then you identify. So let me just, I don't have time. Let me pick this and make some modifications. You're going to write, this is query string. So what you have written here is going to be your query string, please. Space. Update, stop data, capture, set PSN to okay, good. This is ID, right? This ID is not known, so you make it what? Huh? You make it this. Even LGA is not known. In fact, I can even introduce everything in form of, it's even better, in form of placeholder, right? Better. This is better. So prepare statement, then you call the prepare statement that set string. The first thing is local government, right? Set string, we are right, 1, and the string for the local government, I will set it myself. This I needed LGA, right, for this query to work correctly. I needed this LGA because that is a column name in the table, right? Then next I needed this space, and next I need ID. So I will just represent it here, LGA. I don't know if you are getting what I'm doing. PSN the test string, because this is more professional. There are other ways you can use SQL, since you know what, you can use statement, not prepared statement, but then I think please follow this. The next is what is a space, right? PS.set string. The next is number 3 is what? ID. That's what we need. Is it? ID. But I think I have to do something here, because this LGA, it may pick one LGA here. It may pick this, and it will mutilate what I'm doing. Yes, it's going to. So what I will do is this. I needed LGA, so I will write it in a string. Like this, I needed ID, right? This is what I need, right? Is it? I think this is okay. Then ps.sets, dot execute, right? Is not going to be execute update, because execute update is for anything that tampers with the instances. This is execute query. You are not inserting, you are querying. Okay, execute query, execute update. Yes, it's going to tamper with it. Yes, it's going to modify. So I think execute, you are right. Execute update. For selection, you're going to write execute query. This is also execute update. So this executes the query. And I think that's all. Let's try it. Before then, let me truncate what we have here. If you want to do away with everything that is in the table, you just write truncate. But this, when you delete this row 1, the ID has been taken and you cannot do anything. But if you say truncate, it will truncate everything in the table, including everything, including the what do you call? Including everything. Primary keys, everything is gone. So let's run on our program and try it. Let's see. Mukhtar. Let me select Kafanchan. It tells you data captured correctly. Then we check from where? From the DB server and see what has been done. Oh, it collected a string and added into the, yes. And ours is we wanted it to call the ID of I think we have to just embed it within the query. So let me not introduce this set something. Let me just do everything here. The first thing is LGA within query, LGA, right? And and a space, and then ID. I don't know why it is introducing this syntax error token ID. Delete this token. Okay, let me try one thing here. Okay, I think this is the problem. So when you introduce something like that, you don't need parameter. You don't need parameter. So let me run. Let's see Gabi. It has done it correctly. This is done, but the ID is not done, right? I don't know. I hope it's not this. What do you call? I hope it's not. Okay, I think it has not finished. It has updated. You know, you have to click on that OK for it to execute everything down to the. So it has done it. Igabi Kapanchan is done, right? Only that PSN. Oh, what's happening? Which are we really updating? Like there are errors here. It picked everything, right?
Yes.
Not the 3 letters. So maybe in our next class we're going to use. You know what we did was. No, it picked everything. Local government. Maybe we're going to use MySQL to pick only 3 letters instead of using the programming language to pick it for us. Because you see here I said LGA. I did not mention anything, right? Even here I mentioned LGA. Is it not? I mentioned LGA. So maybe probably okay, I haven't even done that. I have to introduce this. You know, it's on PSN I did that. Let me quickly correct it again. That this PSN shouldn't be there. Let's say LGA 3 letters. Okay. This is what I'm supposed to use, not LGA. The mistake is from me. I used LGA instead of LGA 3 letters. And yes, that is it. So I'm going to use this LGA. Okay. And in here I think, okay, maybe this will be our next class lesson. Okay, and PSN. Okay, no problem. PSN could be maintained. No, for the first time it stores it as PSN, and then when you let me just make it PSN. You know what is? Do you understand? For the first time, let me just say PSN. You know, for the first time it stores it as PSN. Then later we update. This is it. So let me select server and click on OK. You have to OK it for it to execute the rest of the queries. Even though you can mash this in one single query. Of course, you can do that. So it doesn't wait for anything to be executed. I don't know what is up. Maybe let's just have a fresh mind. By next week we correct this, inshallah. Then we'll forge ahead. I want us to introduce logging and navigations to after correcting this, what we are supposed to get here is just IGA B, as we have done with the queries here. Just IGA, then 002, and we are done with the registration. So we create admin users and other users, authentications and all that. Thank you for watching.